Welcome back then to the round table, and Jake Marshall is coming to the stands. And yeah, oof.
Yeah, howdy, cowboys. He's gonna come here and he might have a little confessing to do. Let's see. This is the last one. And hopefully our host will watch what he says.
Oh yeah, of course. It wasn't really a spoiler, it was just being very deductive.
Well, I'm supposed to be the deductive one.
Really?
Like,
I mean, I don't remember everything, I only remember bits and pieces.
well, to name an example, during that video, you first pointed out the locker that suddenly had the coat hanging out of it, and that was something alright, since that was simply you letting me notice all of the clues that I have to work with. But saying that specifically the clue that fell out of the locker was specifically used for something went a little beyond that.
Alright.
Anyway, it's your turn.
The prosecution requests to hear this person's name before deciding whether or not to comply.
Very well done, Mr. Wright. This person whom you would have testify, what is his or her name? Yes. No. Or could we do joke answers here?
Maybe? Can try it.
Nah, I can't save here, so I'm gonna go ahead with the right one. Officer Jake Marshall.
Why him?
I can't let Edgeworth know everything just yet. He's in charge of the evidence room. I feel we should hear what he has to say.
The prosecution agrees to the defense's request. Since he was responsible for guarding the room, we should hear his testimony. Fortunately, he works in the police department. We shouldn't need longer than 20 minutes to prepare.
Very well. The court will take a 40-minute recess while the witness is blah blah blah.
I don't even know what that means.
What I said. Will the prosecution please prepare the witness during this time?
We will, Your Honor.
Court is now in recess.
Take a good nap.
I wonder how they're gonna prepare him.
Of course, against Phoenix's favor.
Yes, and dress him up and put on makeup and everything.
There's no stopping you, is there, Mr. Wright?
Huh? What do you mean?
You called for Jake Marshall. It seems you've figured everything out.
I haven't figured anything out.
Lana, you're the one who knows everything. Emma, you always know everything. Why don't you just tell us? Mr. White is trying his hardest to protect you. I don't recall ever asking for his protection. Well, you hired him as your defense attorney, so you kinda did?
Also, in a different context, that would be a very bad thing.
What would be bad?
Saying that she didn't recall asking him to have protection.
Why would that be a bad thing?
Well, put it in a sexual way.
Oh. Yeah, okay, ugh.
Am I the only one? Am I the only one?
Yeah, I don't know, the sentence wasn't weird enough for that, I think. I never asked for his protection, not that he uses protection. I don't know. How can you be so cold? Don't you trust us? Don't you trust me?
Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, I guess I am. I'll come back later. Me? Now I'm sad.
Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it?
You've got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run all around while on duty. And to top it off, you come here, I've seen happier people at funerals.
Sorry, Detective.
You better be, pal. Hey! I didn't see you there, Chief Prosecutor Scare.
That's okay. So, have you brought what I asked?
Oh. You mean this, right?
My apologies, Detective. Due to my present circumstances, I was forced to use Mr. White's name when making my request.
My name?
Never in a million years would I have thought it was you who asked me. Could I bother you to bring me the SL9 incident files? I'll need them by noon. Talk about crazy.
He's the one acting crazy today. The SL9 incident?
But Lana, that's... I thought Mr. White might need them, so I had them brought here. Here, you might do well to read them.
I can't believe you. The Chief Prosecutor were a witness in that case.
Miss Guy was a witness? SL9 incident files for the Joe Dark killings, solved 2 years ago. Oh.
Take it from me, you don't want anything to do with serial murders. Oh, what? Now that I brought you your stuff, you're just gonna ignore me?
Emma, but why? Why is your name
What?
here?
My name's in there? I don't know. Unless... No, it couldn't be. Lana, this SL9 incident. Is that... That's the classification number the police filed it under. 2 years ago, the rest of the world knew it as the Joe Dark killings. The Joe Dark? No. No, Lana. It's over with. No!
Emma, wait! She ran away.
Oh, I wasn't distraught enough. I was way too collected.
Well, yeah, you know, I just remembered. I gotta go somewhere. I gotta be somewhere. Sorry, pal, but I'm out of here. I'm going to my own
I mean,
planet.
Gumshoe's basically the Connor of this game.
Yeah. Jake Marshall, Angel Starr, Damon Gant, Miles Edgeworth. Not to mention Lana and Emma. Everyone involved in this case is connected to those killings 2 years ago. This can't just be a coincidence.
Knowing you just might be able to figure it out. Time to get back to the trial, Mr. Wright. Best of luck.
I better take a good look at this file. I literally only have 20 minutes to go through that entire pile.
To be continued? What? Oh! Huh. We could have made it a few, just
Giving
10
us-
minutes longer last time. Oh well.
Well, no
Yeah.
matter. Always giving us a save point before a new trial. A new trial segment or whatever you want to call it.
Oh, Emma's not even here.
Emma is still not here. Yeah, we had the same thought.
The court now will reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Sky.
We'll have fun to talk with yourself the whole time.
No, you can be the crowd in the background, giving commentary.
Sure.
Emma didn't come back.
Allow me to call the next witness to the stand. The officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. That must be alcohol. Witness, please state your name and occupation.
My partner, I'm just a man, same as you, wandering the trails of civilization.
Occasionally helping the elderly cross intersections when needed. Yes, we get it.
Oh, I know. You're a patrolman.
I'm a very drunken one at that. As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind calling it out.
To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor.
You hear that? That was the sound of the wind.
Howling wind? I've never heard Edgeworth described that way before.
Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day the crime took place. Is this correct?
According to the papers, partner. What do you mean? A desperado's soul is as boundless as the desert sands. No paper can sum it up.
Maybe it's best we get on with this quickly. Please share with us your testimony of the day of the crime. In plain old English.
Wait, so basically Great Britain English?
Maybe. I was a great British man, you know. That's why I talk so fluently and without any kind of weird slurs in between.
My job was to keep a wary eye on the Bone Orchard. They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room is protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at Street Side Saloon at the time it went down. I'm just as innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. I feel like I'm gonna mess up the voice at some point, especially when I have to switch to the
Why?
judge. Because
It's kind of what
it's weird to transition, is all
Ah.
I'm saying.
Can't be that hard.
We'll see.
I can't say I particularly care for your attitude.
I can't say I care for your bed, but you don't see me complaining. I would like to take this knife up there and clean it off. Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems? I mean the security cameras and the ID call reader. I reckon even a cowpoke like you knows about those.
Oh.
Yes, well, what about the fingerprint activated locks on the evidence lockers?
Fingerprint activated locks? What kind of newfangled doohickeys are those?
It's not being very helpful.
Oh, he's not that good with machines, or with following orders.
Everyone's got their weaknesses, now don't they, Mr. Prosecutor?
I don't have any weaknesses. This one seems like trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours.
I hereby declare you man and man.
Husband and husband.
You may examine the bride now. I mean, cross-exam... Damn it! Wow, cross-examination of the bride. That sounds... Well, whatever.
Sounds weird. How exactly did you keep an eye on the evidence room?
I just made sure nothing moved in the security camera monitor. That room's so still.
Every time dies in there. I was just a caretaker who interred the recordings. You interred them? But ears and nothing aren't that useful. When the time will come, I'd erase the tape.
If nothing unusual is recorded, tapes are to be erased every 6 hours.
Each time I'd erase a tape, it felt like I was erasing a part of my life. This guy has a flair for the dramatic, but it isn't going to do him any good. So, in actuality, you don't physically enter the evidence room. Ah. 3 times a day. But you made your rounds on the day of the crime, right? Ain't you heard a word I said, partner? I told you, that ain't my style. I'm afraid I don't understand. No desperado I know lets rules get in his way. No desperados I know joined the police force. So, Officer Marshall, on the day of the crime? Just between you and me, I didn't set foot in the evidence room that day. There was a rubber glove stuck in the victim's locker. Do you know anything about that? Sorry, partner. Can't say I do. I haven't been in that crypt in weeks. How does this guy avoid being fired?
He knows something.
Something. Indeed, we already know something about everything about him that doesn't make sense.
What does not make sense?
These handprints.
Oh!
I just need to figure out where to use
Oh,
it.
didn't
Oh,
he
wait.
say somewhere that he didn't step a foot in the evidence room?
Indeed, I'm just gonna check these ones real quick.
Oh, right, we haven't even looked into that.
See, incident, or do you wanna read these?
I mean, well, incident number SL9, perpetrator Joe Dark, crime, serial murder, sentence, death. Sounds fair. Wait, whoa,
Whoop.
that was a little bit too much. Victims Edward Jones, Jason Knight, Edith Kirby, Rachel Moss, Jeb Bates, Neil Marshall.
Uh-oh.
Head prosecutor Miles Edgeworth, witnesses Lana Sky and Emma Sky. Investigation Task Force, executive investigators Damon Gunt and Lana Sky. Okay, head investigator Bruce Goodman, investigators Jack Marshall and Angel Starr.
Interesting.
That's little information for such a huge pile.
I guess they just spaced it out a lot with huge
boy.
fonts.
Makes sense.
If I remember right, it was the street side. So if you're out of ammo, it's time to hit the trail. Supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. So possibly this
I
thing?
mean, it could be, but he only mentions it when you press him on it.
Indeed. But wait, the 3 rounds make rounds 3 times a day. So he'd simply be standing in the guarding station, so to speak, 3 times a day.
No idea.
Or is that... well, let's press him further. You used to be a detective, so you've used the evidence room in the past, correct? Of course, back in the day my locker was a gold mine of evidence. And yet you didn't know about the fingerprint locking mechanism. Sorry, partner, I ain't good with machines. I couldn't even tell you how a bike works. That's quite incredible.
The sensors on the locker handles cannot be seen. It's well known that some detectives are unaware of their presence.
Now that he mentions it, Detective Gumshoe said something like that too. At any rate, it doesn't seem that this is relevant to the crime. Can you tell us what you were doing when the crime took place? Street side saloon? What were you doing in a place like that? I was eating spaghetti. Not even Angel's steak lunches can beat that Paulus Avongola Sepia's pasta. What do you mean to tell us? You abandoned your police duties to eat some noodles? Yeah, down at that boat shack by Gordy Lake. There's an old man there who runs the wet noodle. But not all desperados eat tacos, partner. That's not what I meant. I hope this has at least taught you a lesson. That's strange. This is usually where Edgeworth says...
Did you know what the rest is here?
That's how Edgeworth sounds like in
Of
his head.
course.
Out of ammo, Officer Marshall. That's right, partner. Or as you'll call it, evidence. If you plan to pin me to this crime, then you better draw. Otherwise, you're just wasting my time. My steel horse is waiting to carry me back west in the sunset. One thing seems clear. Despite being responsible for guarding the evidence room, the witness doesn't appear to have seen anything. Texans don't take orders from anyone. Everyone knows that. Apparently your superiors don't. Okay, I have a trump card up my sleeve, so I'd best keep my cool. Before I use it though, I'd better up the ante.
Wait. I mean, the problem is we didn't see the bloody handprint.
We didn't see it.
Are we to believe that in
Keep
this
an eye.
one camera swing, something was stuffed in the locker and the thing wiped away?
Hold on.
Oh no, this...
And it is Marshall.
Wait, Marshall's fingerprints.
On the bonnet said he was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't his style. But maybe this one, since it wasn't necessarily protected, or rather... But then again, he would just claim that he didn't know about
And
it.
it was already mentioned, so would this really do anything?
Street side saloon, at the time it went down.
I mean, you could try it. Phoenix said something about bringing up the ante or whatever.
Yeah, I suppose he's saying that he wants to wait before he brings out this
I
particular
mean, you
trump
could try
card,
to say,
unless-
objection, there's a third security system. But...
Uh,
But
a
when you
third
pressed
security
him
system.
on it...
innocent traveling man. It's time to hit the trail if you don't have evidence. Well, I guess this would be the place then to use the bloody handprint possibly, since it would prove that he was at the scene of the crime. So I'm gonna try it.
I don't have
gonna
an
try it.
idea.
I'm doing it!
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Aha!
The music stopped. That's a clear indicator.
Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called in to testify like this. After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime. And yet you drag me down here. Explain yourself. Partner. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or, to be exact, a handprint. Huh, listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects, that is, I make my rounds at about once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints will be in there. I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood. Witness, what's the meaning of this? Your blood-stained fingerprints were at the scene of the crime? The blood was wiped away. However, a luminol test clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall? It seems to me there ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders.
I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall? About the blood-stained fingerprints?
Very well. You may begin your testimony about your fingerprints. Found at the scene of the crime. It was a horrible shaving accident.
Of course.
Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in that evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the bloodstained handprint. The murderer touched the locker where my handprint was by chance. The bloodstain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See, I had nothing to do with it. The witness's explanations appears valid, although there's room for doubt. Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. This guy's hiding something. I can feel it.
Feel it in my finger.
I can feel it in the air
Oh,
tonight.
no, I wanted to
Now's
say
my
I
chance
feel
to prove
it
it.
in my toes. But it's not Christmas yet, so it's a little bit early for that.
No.
Oh no, it's Love Is All Around Me, but I mix it up with, oh, how is it called?
Fingers all around me.
No. No.
No. That's a whole new circle of hell. Let's see, it's only natural, I suppose. And that's incredibly coincidental.
Yeah, no, Phoenix actually pointed out that the fingerprint is exactly on top of the blood stain.
Well, there is also the issue of the glove that he brought up, because would he know about the glove? See, found on a bloody handprint left in the evidence room. The print had been wiped. And it doesn't appear as though there were any other prints, unless I'm misremembering it.
Well, there was one print that was not, well, indistinguishable.
Oh no, I'm thinking about the gumshoe fingerprint now, on the other locker. So, murder touch, the bloodstain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? Then the question is, at least, didn't you know?
I mean, we can still press him, maybe more comes up.
Yep. How do you know that? I may be a loner, but I still do my job. I keep up on the reports.
There was a blood stain at the scene, thought to be left by the murderer.
That's right. It was found on Detective Gumshoe's locker.
However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint.
Oh yeah, I think we tried that too.
So that would mean the murderer, wearing gloves, happened to place the hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprint. That's the only logical conclusion.
I can't let him squirm out of this one. I've got to find something. Something decisive to tie Officer Marshall to this crime.
Tie him down on the ground. No. What was that?
What? Just me going, huh?
Oh, snarf, snarf.
The print had him wiped. Except, hold on. Do we not? We don't.
We don't what?
Do we not have, or is it this? Is this the same kind of thing as before? That this is their right hand and the other one was the left
you can
hand
look at
or
the
something like
video?
that? No, I know quite clearly that the blue badger was in the way of that one.
Yeah, but you could still see the hands. Wait, wasn't there a fast forward option?
No.
Oh, really? There used to be one. Why is it not now?
There's. I don't know because we're not in the mini
Ugh,
game.
What a drag.
Well, he seems to be wearing gloves. On both hands, it would seem.
Sneaky, sneaky.
Yeah, both hands. Just happen to be on the same place.
But the fact that one locker was open and closed indicates that his hand had to have not gloves on at that point.
Well, that's the indication that one rubber glove was in use, but not that the killer wouldn't have been using a second pair of gloves.
Oh, what is that? I hate that. Okay.
Or am I thinking too far ahead?
I don't know. I tend to do that in this game a lot.
The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. By chance.
You press him on that?
Yeah. Let's press him from the start. That's because you, how did you put it, pay your respects once a month.
Yeah, that's right. That and one more thing. That locker happens to be mine. What? What do you mean? I mean what I said. That's the locker I used when I was a detective, the locker I still use. All that's in there now, though, is a heap of broken dreams. I see. It'd be strange if my prints weren't all over that locker.
Apparently his fingerprint data was never removed from that locker's programming. He must have been using the fingerprint lock all this time without ever knowing it. Okay, it was updated.
Yeah, but what updated?
Found on bloody handprint of Marshall's own locker.
Oh, yeah, the thing that we already suspected.
Yep.
Are you starting to get the picture, Paula?
Ah, that's what we had to do.
The picture? This sailor blood in the desert is just food for buzzards. There's only one reality, and that's this. The security tape. So long as my trail isn't there, you can't say otherwise. This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where you're going with this cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. Now then, continue your testimony, Officer Marshall.
Now seems to be a good...
Okay, something new
Ah,
was
there!
added.
Too bad it wasn't me in that video, White partner. Now we can say that someone opened and closed that locker. With the videotape, what?
Yes. Yes, that would be the conclusion.
Wait, what? Oh, we have to press him first?
Ah,
Oh,
Blah, blah,
it's
blah,
so
blah.
stupid. It's so stupid. It's so obvious that someone opened that locker and that the evidence is in there.
let's see. What do you mean by that?
You want to tie me to this crime, isn't that right, partner? If so, that video is the only direct evidence you have.
But that video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots.
Blind spots?
Places you can't see.
Oh, how stupid is that? That should have been conclusive enough to trigger the thing.
Yeah, I guess. The camera is panning back and forth, the floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape.
We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. White.
Wow, Mr. Wright, if you can show us evidence in this video that indicates Officer Marshall was present, please do so.
Ah, finally.
Aha! Very well. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall.
Tread carefully, Mr. White, or you might wind up being the one making the mistake.
Now then, let's have another look at that video. Show us this incriminating evidence of the witness, Officer Jake Marshall.
So, do we have to point out the
Bum.
locker the whole time, or only when there's something in it?
Something
Yeah,
in
I
it,
guess.
I would presume.
Do, 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 do. Not yet.
Bum, ba-da.
One more
No.
swing with the camera.
Swing it. Aha! And aha! Bringing our attention back to the security camera is a mistake I'm afraid you'll soon not forget, Officer Marshall.
The days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Could you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less?
Very well. You can clearly be seen in this video.
3, 4, 5, 6,
3, 4.
8, 9, 10.
Well, if you count out the
Yeah,
very
then
well.
it's 8.
Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner.
The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. Let's look at it again.
That locker with the white cloth sticking out. That was the witnesses, I believe.
Now then, let's rewind the video a bit.
Oh, rewind means fast.
Yeah, not in this universe. Technology is simply not what it is.
Oh, the white cloth. It's gone. It's like a magic trick. What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall?
When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then, it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you're a magician! And you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away.
Order! Order! It would seem that... hold your horses, sorry, partner. But you got the wrong man. So what if my locker was opened? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened a locker and stuck it in. It's not my fault he happened to
Did
choose
he
mine.
already forget about the mechanism that we told him at the beginning?
Well, I'm bad with my chains, you know. Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man?
Oh, he clearly forgot it.
This guy isn't just playing dumb. He is dumb. He really doesn't know. I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker.
Oh yeah? I call your bluff. You say I opened a locker? Now prove it.
Oop. No, we don't need to see your
Nope.
shiny badge. We need to show him the locker.
Yes. Throw it in his face.
A fingerprint
Yeah, we told
sensor.
you that several times.
We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by the detectives they belong to.
What kind of crazy talk is this?
Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this.
In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people on the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks.
So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less?
The fuck is he eating?
I only got one word for you, partner. No!
No.
No!
No!
Order, order, order. Witness, explain yourself. If this is a joke, it's the worst I've ever heard.
I assure you this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime? Question mark?
Is that beef jerky or something? Or is he eating his leather glove or something?
I don't know.
Olay! Please answer the question.
What is he now, a bullfighter? That's alright, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure out the rest out from here.
We can.
Have a look at these floor plans. There is no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall.
If that's so, then where was the witness?
It seems Mr. White has an answer.
That's right. The only possible
What
conclusion.
are they talking about now?
Well then, let's hear it. Where was Officer Marshall at the time of the crime?
Ugh, really?
Well, presumably, unless he was hiding behind the camera here all the time. But no. Officer Marshall was standing right here.
Yeah, but that's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was.
Correct, unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in the video is Officer Marshall. It was you, dressed up like Detective Goodman.
But that's preposterous! Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he'd know for sure. Oh, Edgeworth, I'm disappointed in you now.
Disappoint. May I point out, though, that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted.
When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show his card, sir.
Yes, and how did Detective Goodman respond?
He suddenly pulled a knife on me!
Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had had his ID card, why didn't he just show it?
Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it.
The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on this ID card.
Oh, I get it.
If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realized the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall?
You've got quite an imagination, partner. We got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence.
Circumstantial evidence? He's still denying it.
You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you have a hard evidence proving you're dressed up as the victim. I can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. I can't say I care for your bed, but you don't see me complaining.
Well, except he did. Also, he's the one character who's been walking around with a knife this entire time. It couldn't have been more obvious.
Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that Officer Marshall dressed up as the victim?
Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that.
I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat. That's why I always dehydrate or hydrate.
Eck! This can't be happening! It's so obvious he's the one. What can I do? Help me, Edgeworth.
It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you've run into a wall with no place to go, we turn to the basics.
The basics? For me, that would be what Mia used to tell me.
Phoenix, try thinking outside of the box.
I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise. But rather I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise.
Why do you think this locker was opened in the first place?
What do you mean?
There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance it might be discovered later as it has been.
Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker.
According to the defense's argument, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then, after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason.
The fact that a white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that he opened it in order to put the cloth inside.
So, just what exactly is this piece of cloth?
Perhaps the video is the key to all our unanswered questions. I don't have any evidence, so this video is my only shot.
I mean, it is blatantly obvious by now, right?
Bloodstains.
Very well. Let's take yet another.
Oh.
Huh? On the coat.
Right. So yeah, the coat
Very
is
well.
probably in the locker. Just open it and
Very
bring it
well.
out.
Let's take yet another look at that security tape. After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth. Please show us why the witness had to open his locker.
Oh, and you said bloodstains, that's right. Bloodstains are seen.
Yes.
Bum, bam, bum, bum, bim, bum, bim, bada, bada, bum, bum. Look into my eyes.
And her?
A little more.
No.
There we go. That should be good enough.
For some reason, you disguised yourself as Detective Goodman and entered the evidence room, though I don't know to what end yet.
Yet.
However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood.
A bloody white coat.
You couldn't just walk out like that, so you hid the coat in your locker.
Not bad, partner.
He just gets more incomprehensible as the time goes on.
Now then, Officer Marshall, are you ready to tell us the truth? Do you know the truth? Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, if you were only half as persistent then as you are today, we all wouldn't have to be here now would we?
Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did, all of it.
All right. It seems the time has come.
Aha.
I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed up like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out. I managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on the camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. So the supposed victim was really you.
Why did they even presume that there was a victim if they didn't find a corpse? That is kind of stupid.
I think maybe Damon Gant did it intentionally in order to make this case appear in court. Otherwise, we wouldn't have these clues to work with or something like
Why would
that.
he want that?
Well, just my guess.
But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found on the floor of the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Oh yeah, why?
Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor.
It was way too much blood for such a small donation.
Oof.
Huff puff. I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. The SL9 incident, I presume. When you say it, you mean
Do you even have to ask, Paul?
the SL9 incident.
Oh, 2 years have passed since that case was closed. It was going to completely end with the transferal that day.
Not if I have anything to do with it. That incident is not over.
But what did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room?
When a case is closed, only that case's lead detective can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time, no matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine.
But Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it?
we know that.
Yes. That day was my last chance. That's why I stole the detective's ID.
And at what point did this happen? Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman?
If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transfer, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere.
So you did it to fool the security camera.
And the detective's ID card? I stole it the morning of the incident.
So that really was why Goodman started filling out that lost item report.
I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot.
The ID card I found was left there by Officer Marshall.
So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight.
What do you mean, partner?
I mean the fingerprint activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that locker yourself.
But he could have because a rubber glove just happened to get stuck in the door. Just happened to. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. Does it?
I mean, kind of. Someone must have put the glove in between the sensor.
I suppose. You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off.
Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Meekins certainly is a one-in-a-million type of person. Mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID.
I have to think a little more about his ways this year.
When did Edgeworth get so much influence?
Anyway, he threw himself at me, and I ended up cutting him slightly. I'm sorry it had to turn out that way. Look, with me knocking him out on everything.
By the way, what happened to your knife?
Oh, you mean this one?
I don't know what to say.
Oh! So, you knocked Officer Meekins out and
managed to escape. So you did research beforehand?
Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I didn't think it would make a difference though. The security tapes is raised every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no footage would have been left.
However, you bloodied your coat in your struggle with Officer Meekins.
If someone was in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there.
What was Officer Meekins doing during that time?
What else? He was sleeping like a baby. Like a baby.
So what you're saying is...
on that day, you punched a baby! You punched a baby in the face! How dare you!
There wasn't any murder in the evidence room. But the blood found at the scene certainly indicates a crime took place.
What are you, blind? The victim shown on that tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner.
So you stole the evidence from the locker?
Actually, no I didn't.
Why not?
When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. What? Mr. Edgeworth, where is that evidence?
It's still missing, Your Honor.
Detective Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole that evidence. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing?
Far away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer.
Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID injuring... Stealing a detective's ID, injuring a police officer? This is no small offense.
Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. It can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary.
Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution.
Like I said, this isn't your case. This one's mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more. Bring out the popcorn, fellas. I can't just forget the SL9 incident. You know why?
Hold it! But that case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it?
That's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room.
Joe Dark was convicted for his crimes. One thing I can say for sure is he deserved his sentence.
I remember the Joe Dark case. It involved serial murders, didn't it? I don't intend to complain about how it turned out, but there's something that still bothers me. Something went down at that trial. Something no one will talk about. What happened? I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out.
Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with that, what I think his real reason is. Maybe I really should. Had a feeling everyone involved here is related in some way to that case. I'd better take another look at the files.
Yeah, that is an easy one.
Yes. So this
Oh,
is...
you have to look at which page.
Maybe.
Probably.
Maybe.
Let's see.
Here, second page. Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident.
Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner.
I have the SL9 incident file here. The name Marshall is mentioned in here. In a list of murder victims. Neil Marshall, are you related to this man?
Neil Marshall.
Yeah, I'm sure you've heard the name. 2 years ago. He received the same lousy prosecutor award you got. What? A prosecutor?
He must be talking about the King of Prosecutors Award.
Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did.
That's right, he was killed, and the case fell into your hands. But what's his relation to you? He was my brother. He was investigating the murders with t.bone Gant, the then deputy chief of
And
police.
it is hair on his head.
Yeah. Finally confirmed. The biggest mystery.
A group of detectives I was part of worked under them. We were desperate to prosecute the killer. Joe Doc. My brother thought Doc and was killed. That was the first time Doc left behind any evidence. That was all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed. At least, according to the public records. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dock. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight.
And that's it? That's your reason for your insane actions?
There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me.
Oh.
Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime.
That was the last day the SO9 case could be reopened. Not satisfied with its resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence.
Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled.
Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day. The things that happen by chance never cease to amaze. At exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office, this fake murder was going on at the police department.
Chance? It's got to be more than just that.
So, if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder on the prosecutor's office's parking lot was the real one.
Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye.
But wait! A verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial.
Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today.
But
There's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remained the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department.
It seems to me, this boy's got the draw on you, partner.
All of the mysteries at the police department have been resolved, no doubt about it. Our sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Skye. And the testimony of one Miss Angel Starr is completely incontestable. If you have a response, make it a single word or less.
Ah!
I rest my case.
not my finest moment.
It seems this trial has reached a conclusion. There's no room for doubt.
Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time disproving the alleged murder at the police department.
There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security camera's tape really was fake. But I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty.
Now then, the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant...
Your Honor, wait!
Emma!
I have to object by ending the episode right here. We are way over time right now. So that plot twist has to
It's
wait
not.
until next time. Oh, yep.
next?
Hope you enjoyed it so far, but this has gone on for quite some time now, so we have to unfortunately end it here. Hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for more.
And if you like it, leave a like, subscribe, comment, and share with your friends, partner.